Well, Erik, nice to meet you finally.
Hey.
After all this time.
Thanks for the journey.
Yeah.
Coming over.
Yeah. We hit a few roadblocks, and one was that pronghorn antelope, but
that makes the trip worth it, right?
Yeah. Well, when I grabbed his antlers and pulled him off the road, I did kind of get that sense of, there's something significant when you take a life, whether it was accidental or not.
Right.
I mean, most of us don't take a life very often.
Yeah.
Or even feel when a life is gone.
Mm-hmm.
So actually.
So you sensed the unity with it, right?
I did, but thankfully we made it. So you wrote this post, I think it was in February, early February maybe?
Early February, yeah.
And it's called "The American Life is Killing You."
Yes.
Not the cheeriest title.
No, not the cheeriest. The title makes the blog, right? Makes people want to read it, and hopefully your substance is just as interesting as the title.
Did you have any idea it was going to go?
No, I had no.
Blog as viral.
I was expecting a few hundred people, maybe at the most, reading it. So when it took a life on its own, that was probably the biggest shock of my life, for sure.
Yeah, and so what prompted your post?
Well, I just turned 40 years old in January. So, it's one of them defining, I guess, moments in your life where you start looking at mortality, start thinking about death, and just thinking about life and what it means to be alive on this planet, So it was kind of sparked from there, and I just got done reading Erich Fromm's great book, and he's a psychologist from the 20th century, but he was pretty much, he has this book called To Be or To Have, and he pretty much just says that human beings live there's two modes of living as being a human being. You can live in the mode of being or live in the mode of having. And what he just kind of revealed to everybody is like the modern day society is sick because in the industrial era, because we live in the mode of having, right? We define who we are by our possessions.
So of the responses you started to get back, are there one or two that you feel that really stuck out, or that you want to share, or
Yeah, I was actually surprised that a lot of college professors actually read it to their classrooms, in big universities. So that was a really big surprise for me, because I'm not a college educated guy, I just kind of read a lot and like to write, but I don't know, it just hit me all at once, and I was just like, you know what? I'm looking at the stats all around me. I see that a lot of Americans, even though we're the wealthiest creatures on the planet, right? Nobody's happy. Or very few of us, right? Where antidepressants are rampant, depression and anxiety is increasing, heart attacks, cancer. It's just like we're just a very sick culture, So pretty much I was just wanting to know what the fuck happened to us. What the fuck happened to us? So that's what I kind of explored during this article. And another gentleman, or a few gentlemen, contacted me and said that they were reading this article to their kids around the dinner table at night. Wow. So that was like, whew, wow, the words meant that much. Like, that's when I started thinking, like, man, this is really resonating with a lot of people.
Yeah, I had a friend in Hollywood once when I got there to write screenplays. He said, if you have a good idea, some people like it, it might be okay. But if you have a really great idea, you actually kind of have to ram it down people's throat.
You do.
You took something that other people have said. This is not, no offense, this is not the newest thing to say that we are on opiates and we're addicted to all these things, but you pushed it in a way that, like you said, the title shocked people enough to make them stop what they're doing, really read it, and really, I think, ingest it, and let it kind of settle for a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like you can't smoke a cigar quickly. Mm-hmm. It's kind of the same thing, is what I feel like with your and it's ironic that you wrote it right before
all this, like
the sickness.
Writing this in January of this year, like nobody in a million years would have thought. 6 months later, we're in a global pandemic, lockdowns, civil unrest. It's just a totally different world,
My estimation when the virus hit after just a few weeks was, well, shoot, maybe we were sick long before the virus.
Before that, yeah.
And that's apparently what you were feeling too.
Yeah, because I think that a lot of us we're stuck in the rut of routine and the mundane. We have everything we need, and somehow we're still fucking sad. Still.
Yeah, and we've talked about we both came upon Edward Bernays and the propaganda machine in the 20s and 30s and telling women smoking their torches of freedom, and it'll make you slimmer, which actually is true. Cigarettes, but this idea of the American dream, which I think was fed to people when they literally needed food in the Great Depression, and so maybe that wasn't a bad thing to feed them that hey, there is something greater out there. There's something to strive for.
Right.
So the short version for people that might be watching that don't know about Edward Bernays is he was able to turn marketing into propaganda without people noticing the difference.
Right.
So is there anything going on today that you can see that is kind of having the same effect?
Well, right now, we're going through the pandemic, right? So there's a lot of half-truths, misinformation. I mean, especially in the age of the internet right now, it's rampant. So the pandemic right now is that they're using slogans, right, to, I guess, corral behavior in a certain way, So everybody changed their profile picture to, wear your mask, stay home, all these kind of little slogans. And, that, goes into the subconscious. And even though even if it might be right, it's still propaganda where they're just trying to embed it and change the behavior of human beings. It's in front of your face all the time, because most people spend 5 or 6 hours on screen time a day, maybe more. Kids more. But yeah, they're just repetitive, and they come up these little witty slogans that sink into your subconscious. What's in your wallet? You just remember these things. Finger looking good. You remember these things, and you remember them, but now it's tenfold compared to what it was just a few decades ago.
Yeah, I wonder if that's why those of us that grew up in the 70s and 80s, we joke about it, but I wonder if that's why we felt kind of quote unquote happier in one regard, just because we had less of a barrage.
Right. That's true. And you were outside more, and that's the big key factor right now. I think one of the huge factors that I write about in an article is, and I know it's cliche to say this, but we lost connection with nature, but it's deeper than that. Like we needed a feeling of awe. That's what we lost, like awe, right? Like just a transcendental experience, which you get in nature. You get when you travel to places unknown, and a lot of us, we just stuck in the routine, and we're in cubicles all day, or and we just do the same thing over and over again. And even though we are successfully financially successful, we're not happy, a lot of us, and we're sick, and we're 35% obese in this country. 1 in 5 of us will get cancer. Heart disease is like the #1 killer, and it was never like that 100 years ago, but it is like that today. They make it easy. Amazon's genius, they tapped into the unconscious of everybody, and they made it so easy that it's almost impossible not to be a constant, obedient consumer, right? A mindless consumer.
Right. Have you ever heard of Greg Brown, folk singer?
Ooh,
you might actually really love him.
I'm a big folk fan too.
You might love him. He's married to Iris Dement. She's a folk singer too from the 90s. He's a poet. He's a crazy poet. And the first album he had that I picked up was called The Poet Game. He has a song in there called Let's Face It, Friends. There's a wheel of cymbal, a wheel of spokes. Let's face it, friends. These are station wagons, and we are our folks. We are becoming. But the next line is, there'll be one corporation, and he wrote this in like 95. There will be one corporation selling one little box, and it'll cost whatever you want and give you whatever you, or it'll cost whatever you, it'll give you everything you want and cost whatever you got. I mean, that's crazy prophetic.
That was in 95?
In 95, and that's before the iPod, before the iPhone.
There'll be one corporation selling one little box. It'll do what you want and tell you what you want and cost whatever you got. But wait.
Leave it to the poets to be the prophets in this society, right?
Right.
They always know. They've always
right.
known. But
so we need more poets, is what you're saying.
I do like that. We do need more poets. But poetic souls, poetic actions, We left the ideals of like Henry Thoreau and Emerson and Whitman, and we, I guess we've jumped into the industrial mindset, and our appetites are manufactured, and we don't even know the story of who we are. You know, we're just going along in this cultural whirlwind, and we're just trying to make sense of stuff. And I think people are realizing, like, man, especially in the modern era, like today, you know, and with this pandemic, I think a few people are stepping back a little bit and trying to rethink, like, what does it mean to be alive on this planet?
You don't get the sense, I think one of the things I appreciate about your post, you know, I grew up near the redwoods. Mm-hmm. My dad saved some of the redwoods, literally, and built 2 California state parks. And the sense of awe that you get in the redwoods, no one tells you to speak quietly. There's no signs.
Right.
When you walk through the redwoods, you just kind of, hey, did you bring the sandwiches?
Yeah.
You just speak lower. And no one tells you to do that.
Right.
They're saying, hey, we've been here 300, 400 years.
Yeah.
You know, what are you doing down there? Just chill out for a second. And maybe that's what we need more of.
Yeah.
You know?
The dignity of silence, right? You're in there, and you want to be silent on your own without, you know, all these rules and these. That's interesting how you put that. But you know, Nietzsche said that, you know, the reason that we're all running around busy and just live this haste kind of life is because everybody's in flight from themselves, you know? And I think that's a huge part of why everybody's just sick and angry and bitter and divided. And we don't know who we are as people, you know? We never get to self-reflect and sit in silence.
One thing I think that's interesting is that I'm a Christian, mm-hmm. and you're not, and yet this is something that I think transcends who you follow, whether you go to your corner church or go to your own church in your backyard.
Yeah. But you know, I even did a segment on Christianity in my article where I said, like, even the Christians among us are one of the most materialistic people, you know? And I just wanted to bring that to attention because, you know, we kind of, you know, we like to hide behind our beliefs and really not live them out. And, you know, you're following the most minimalist, possessionless human being that's ever lived on this earth, but you know, we still, you know, let culture you know, move us in the direction that is away from pretty much our ideals and our religion, you know. But yeah, that was a huge part of the article that I really thought I was going to get a lot of flack from. But
so even like the ideals of Jesus,
right, relate
to today, even if you don't say follow him or go to your local church, because why?
Well, because say that question.
Yeah. So even the ideals of Jesus today are relevant, even if you don't claim him or go to your local church.
Oh, sure.
Why are the ideals of Jesus still relevant?
Well, Jesus actually represents the embodiment of somebody who lives being. You know, he doesn't live having mode like we live today. He lives in the being mode. You know, and what was his biggest ideals? It was brotherhood, right? It was, you know, taking care of the poor people. It was almost deliberate poverty as a way to be freer, as a way to, you know, coalesce with the little community that you're a part of and change the hearts of people around you, you know? So that's exactly why Jesus lives. He's like the embodiment of somebody who lives in the being mode.
Yeah.
He's the ideal, you know?
Well, I guess, I mean, it is true. It's kind of like a relationship. You can't love someone else truly if you don't love and know yourself.
Right. You have to know yourself.
You got to know yourself. So maybe, is that, can we wrap it up with that and say that is that when you feel yourself, you know, you've written this post, it's gone out there viral. Maybe people might esteem you as a, you know, modern poet of whatever level. Where's your go-to when you feel yourself even slipping? Because it's easy. Yeah. You know, we watch the news. There's a dust cloud coming over from the Sierra.
I just heard that from my daughter this morning. She's like, Dad, there's a dust cloud coming. I'm like, what? What are you talking about?
So where's your go-to personally that when you feel yourself slipping back into?
Oh man, so yeah, I definitely like to get out in nature. That's just my thing. You know, I get out in nature. It helps. I go to places that I've never been before. You know, and I know some people just can't just buy a plane ticket and go. But I buy a really inexpensive plane ticket and just go to some place I've never been before. Go to the unknown, because that's where the sense of awe, you know, it captures your soul, and you have, you know, your inner faculties are everything's heightened, and you feel alive, right? Even though you're not even doing anything. It's not some, you know, glorious thing you're doing, but it's just something out of the norm, you know? Right. And, you know, just around here, I definitely have to, I turn off the TV. I just turn off all the distraction.
Doesn't Lucas Nelson have a song, Turn Off the News, Start Planning?
Yeah, he did actually recently, right?
That's right.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I do, and I just try to write, you know? I write, I create, you know, photography. I do all this kind of stuff just to, you know, I guess, regurgitate something out of my inner self, you know?
So basically what you're saying, if I can condense it, is create and enjoy more than consume.
Yes.
Turn the consumer button off.
That's the mode of being, right? That's what all the spiritual teachers taught, right? Yeah. Jesus lived in the mode of being. Buddha, you know, they lived in the mode of being, you know? They weren't dependent on the outside political system or the mark, you know, they were themselves, and they made the biggest impacts in the world. But it's very rare. For all of us. I mean, it's all of us. Yeah. We can't constantly like be in that mode right now, especially in the modern era, but we try. We can strive for it. Yeah. And once you know, lean more toward the mode of being, I think that's when you'll see maybe a change in, you know, maybe society.
Well, and starting with a change in yourself.
In yourself, right? Because you change yourself, you change society.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, so every screenplay, once you start to break it down, the basic gist of right before we start Act 3, which is the wrap up. So it's, you know, thesis, the problem, then the antithesis, and that's the upside down world. And then it's the synthesis, a melding of the two. So that's the 3-act structure, basically. Okay, so before we go into that synthesis of that new world, almost at 99% of screenplays, the hero, the character, the girl, the guy, whoever it is, basically has to come to the realization that it was in them all along.
Right.
They just had to believe in themselves. Mm-hmm. Now, the less well-written screenplays will put that right on the surface, but the great ones, you don't even notice it.
Yeah.
But it basically is, hey, I had this in me all along, and I just have to believe and become myself.
Right.
And go into the...
Yeah, as Kierkegaard said in the 19th century, right? Mm-hmm. Before psychology was even here, and it ended up being true, but he goes, the most common form of despair is not being who you are. You know, and that's the truest thing, you know, as Nietzsche says, become who you are. Yeah. But it's the rarest feat, you know, because we're born into...
Well, and we can craft who we want right now. We can craft the photos. We can craft the look we want right now.
Yeah, we can build the outer...
We can build a pretty good shell, and a pretty looking one.
And we all do it.
We all, So come out of your shell, turn your consumer button off, go out into nature, create, even if the world rejects it or it sucks, if it's just for you.
Yes, I always tell people, man, a blog is free. And even if you can't write, right, every human being should start a blog. They should just self-reflect the day, their thoughts, anything, even if nobody reads it, just write. And writing on a blog, writing anything, makes you think. It makes you contemplate who you are as a person. Because now you're writing something, you know, perhaps maybe somebody's going to read it. And so you want to be more self-reflective. But a lot of times we just live, like I said earlier, the automatic culture of person, where we just kind of, you know, do our duties, you know, we do our jobs, we come home, we do the same things over and over again, and we know deep down that that's not it. Right. That's not it. You only have a few years on this life, right?
Yep.
That's not it. Everybody knows that.
Nice.
So you can...
Well, thank you, Erik. It's been great.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Keep watching America Unmasked, and we'll see if I get some more follow.
There's a sweated through shirt thrown over a chair, an old photo of Ana Mañana in her underwear. There's an old dog barking at a brand new moon, and a sign in every window saying, be back soon.